Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of week 2 of ALYFE Connects, our very first virtual event brought to you exclusively by ALYFE Group. This morning, we are very excited to be joined by Adam Sinclair, an award-winning filmmaker, to talk to us about his journey through the creative walk of life, I suppose. Tell us all about some experiences on set and behind the scenes, and also share with us his latest venture with his wife, Yuna, the learning platform, the online learning platform that they have created, designed for small and intimate group learning. So without further ado, please help me welcome Adam Sinclair. Good morning.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning.
How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing good. It's a quiet morning, a quiet, peaceful morning. I'm glad to be able to talk to some people.
Right. It's been a fairly quiet and peaceful few weeks, and it seems like we're in for a quiet and peaceful few more.
That's right.
Happy Ramadan to you.
Thank
you,
you,
of course. How have you found the lockdown period so far, mate? I know you're back in KL. Usually you're based in LA, right? Or most of the time.
Yeah.
I know you're back in KL at the moment. How has the last few weeks been for you?
It's kind of been good. I mean, it's kind of hard to also find, like, there's a lot of bad things going on around the world, but staying at home is true. A lot of people, I think, have been experiencing the same thing. For me, I've been kind of reconnecting with myself. I've been getting a lot of writing, getting a lot of work done. I've been working out. I haven't worked out this straight in a row for so long, and I think it's a routine. It's just every day you kind of have a routine, and it's simple. You don't think of anything else complicated, like, oh, where should I go today? What should I really do? It's, you just kind of take it easy, one step at a time. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Good. I mean, I'm glad to you're working out, because a lot of people, I think, are using the lockdown almost as an excuse. Just say, oh, well, I can't go to the gym. I'm just going to sit on the sofa and get fat. It's like, no, this is actually the perfect time to work, to try out some different exercises. There are plenty of workout videos on YouTube to follow. Just clear some space in the room and get moving. But that's just a personal gripe of mine. I think there's no excuse. Keep it.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear you're staying motivated. And
sorry, I was just saying, I used to have an app which I just had. Sometimes I'll do the workouts, but then I never subscribe to a program. And then when the MCO happens, okay, time to invest a little, inscribe in something that's been good. So every day today I've got to work out too.
Good man. And I think you also touched on just now, it's a good time for us, I think, to recalibrate and to reconsider a few things maybe about our busy lives. Life is so fast paced and forward moving, which is great. We love the hustle and we love being busy, but also I think being forced to stay indoors for a while and not being able to commute and everything has given us all the chance to really reflect and recharge a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so for you, and you also mentioned just now, so for you, obviously your area of expertise, right, is filmmaking and production and so on, which of course now is not a good time for. But you still mentioned you're managing to get around to the creative side of things by writing and by looking at things like that. So tell us a little bit about what you've been able to come up with, or if you can share with us.
Okay.
Of course.
I mean, there's a few things. There's some projects that is still very initial stage, but I've also been working on some content pieces, music pieces with Yuna, featuring Yuna. She's been interviewing other artists. So these are some things that we've been building up. We want to actually have a few more episodes underneath the belt before we release it. And that kind of got cut short. But we were very excited about that. And a lot of other kind of things as well, more personal kind of things. Since work is a bit out of the picture. I mean, there's still work to be done, but there's also this focus on personal kind of stuff. So I've also been experiencing, I've been writing different styles, and honestly, I even wrote a song that day, because that's one of the things my wife is teaching a songwriting thing. So I've been eavesdropping. I wrote a song. I even took a whack at some poetry, because I was writing the song. Then I was like, oh, the lyrics are really hard. All my lyrics are really basic. So it's oh, I probably need to like brush up on like poetry. And then, okay, I just started doing like a picture book with poems inside and stuff. So, I would have never done that if not for
Right.
this lockdown and stuff. You know what I mean?
This is a new Adam Sinclair we're seeing here.
Hey,
This is like a creative.
this is the old one that got like, muffled down with all the work and everything. This is the old one's coming back, the young Adam.
That's actually a much nicer way of putting it, I think, because you're right, and again, like it's a good time for us to. I think you have that in common with a few people I've spoken to who have like found the time to reprioritize some personal passions, or just found they've like run out. I know a few people who have been really putting things to the back of their mind. Just I'll do it, next month when work quiets down. The reality is work never quiets down. No. So now that they have this quiet period at home, they know they're giving themselves a kick up the bum and saying, right, no more excuses, no more putting things aside. I've got to do it now. So yeah, I think that's amazing. Good on you. And this interview series with Yuna, for example, where can we see that once it's released? Where will that be going out on? Is it like an online series?
Yeah,
YouTube thing, or
we'll have that. We'll have it on YouTube. Right now, because she does different forms, she's been quite busy as well. She's been interviewing her friends, people that inspire her as well on her Instagram. But we'll be releasing this, of course, on YouTube, and then linking it to the socials and everything. Whenever we release something, I think ever since we did the music videos, because I do a lot of commercials before I really went more into music videos and everything. So all the different media, like doing a version of your work for different media, has always kind of been a thing in the last 2 to 3 years. You're always going to do something that looks like diagonal, like as you'd see a film or movie on YouTube. Then you're doing like a story version. You do some square versions and all this. So we were doing the same for the music videos. When I'm shooting my music video, I'm also thinking, okay, we need to just get simple shots that are like vertical and do that. So so we're keeping the same practice as to what we're doing. So once we release something, it's really trying to spread it as wide as we can. And there's all sorts of media platforms that I had never heard of before. Like I was doing something for, I think it was Digster or this and that. And it's like, wow, I didn't know there was like more than 5. And it turns out there's like 500 or something. So, I mean, it's cool. And that's just the name of the game nowadays, really. Is like, if you're going to share, it's a serious job to share. So you find out like, how wide you can share.
Yeah, there's a much wider market out there than just IG Live. What about TikTok? Have you guys caught the TikTok craze yet?
Man, I have. I downloaded the app. At least I did that. Before this, I was like, never. I'm never gonna do this. I grew up loving Vine. Like I love Vine because of the comedy and stuff. And then Vine went away, and I guess like even though it's not that long ago, like how your parents or older people, whenever something new comes along, they'll be like, oh, what is this? This is the devil. This is like a whole totally waste of time. What are the kids doing? And already now I'm feeling it. It's like, what's this TikTok? There's songs, there's all this stuff. And it's like, oh, this is ridiculous, but it's fun.
It is, right. It is kind of fun. And slowly, I mean, I still haven't taken the plunge, I'll admit. But, week by week, it's looking more tempting. God knows I need stuff to do here. But what's amazing is you're right. But even back in the day, listen to me. I'm not even 30 yet, and I feel like I'm talking back in my day. But the rate of like adoption and innovation now is so much greater. You think because like between like back in the day, that was MySpace and then Facebook, but like early Facebook was way different, of course, to what it is now. But these days, like every 6 months, there's like a new thing. Before it was Snapchat, and it was TikTok, and it's really hard to keep up. And you're right, we sound like our parents, even though we're like 2 years older than the generation who are using these things. Like it's so easy to get just lost in the noise, literally with TikTok, the noise, because obviously that's what it's known for, is the music stuff. But you could have a lot of fun with it, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Could be an interesting one.
It looks like a lot of effort, though. I mean, like I actually have one I did, not using the TikTok app. It's following a TikTok kind of challenge, but I did it just with my phone and my editing software. And it was more because my friend asked me like, hey, how did they do this? So I like turned on the production cap. So, oh no, they did this shot, then reversed, and then this. Okay, let me show you. Then I was doing it. It's actually like that mirror shot where you like have the camera in front of the mirror, and then it supposedly goes into the mirror and comes out. So so I have a TikTok video. I shared it on my.
Which you made yourself.
Yeah,
You got a homemade TikTok. Wow.
I mean,
that sounds like. I mean, I know you're a production expert and a creative powerhouse, but nevertheless, that does sound complicated too.
And the thing is actually once you know what it is and you've done it, or like it becomes quite easy. But that's just a simple 1-2 shot kind of been put together. You see these people doing like my wife will do somewhere she jumps, and then she changes. Like I'll be doing work, and then she brings down 5-6 different kind of outfits. And they're all like heavy outfits. You got a wedding dress. Like, whoa, what's going on? Then she's got like her mop. And then, she's like jumping and changing. And I was like, okay, that's good. I see the effort. Then next I see another video. Now, as she jumps, the background light changes. She got all these like bulbs that she can control the lights and colors. And I'm like, yo, I think I need to talk to you about this. I'm getting concerned. Like, but
she's got a full storyboard, a full TikTok storyboard.
Yeah.
She's got location.
She's got like a whole mood board, decks, So it's a whole industry. But it's fun. And if she does it, and people kind of, I think with TikTok, even though it's effort, if it's done well, people kind of applaud the effort. There's a lot of, they all, especially they've been TikToking themselves, they know what it takes. And when they see something like, oh wow, they went that far. So that's the
behind the scenes. I mean, behind the scenes on any production is always like a fascinating one. But even down to the TikTok level, something which looks just so like kind of whimsical and cutesy and fast paced and just snappy. Actually, like you said, she's bringing down 5 different outfits. She's like running around the house. It's you got to respect the hustle actually. So maybe I should. The hustle is real. But I mean, it's unreal how big that thing has become for the millennial. No, it's not even millennial anymore because we're millennials, I guess. For like Gen Z, I think Gen Z it is, and it's huge. And you wonder what the next thing will be. Interesting thing to ponder. But that's their creative journey, Adam. I would love to hear a little bit more about your creative journey. What is it that's got you to this point? And making your own TikTok videos and stuff like that. Where did this all start?
Where did it all begin? Wow.
The genesis.
It's kind of funny to think back this far. I remember a long time ago, my late brother, Adam Sinclair and Aisha, I mean, both of them, when they started working, they were almost immediately into the entertainment industry. And Aisha started acting very young, doing commercials, and so did Aisha. And actually, before all that, I realized that we did have a love for play acting, like every kid does, But our play acting was kind of a bit too much like the movies. Like, I know we had this playhouse set, which we could do different kind of shapes, and then we'd find one that said like airport bar. And okay, we make this airport bar thing, and we actually had like these glass bottles. Like my dad had these classic English medicine bottles of different colors. And all we act out is that there's a bartender, and there's a guy comes down, puts his suitcase, orders a drink, has peanuts, reading his newspaper, bartender just asks a word or two, and then he's on his way. And that's what we acted out, like realistic scenes from life. And
so that's you guys weren't running around doing like cowboys and Indians,
like sad people at an airport bar waiting for their
you were doing like exposition.
Yeah, we were doing like what the extras do before the scene starts. We were covering that already. But no, we also had a fun time. I remember we borrowed the camera, and I was a bit young. I was helping my brother direct it, and it was only my sister acting. And we did these classic martial art Malaysian films. So we used to call them pendeka films. So it's like always silat. There's always a character, and there's always a scene where one guy, he's shouting at another guy, they're about to fight. You see both of them jump off screen, and next thing you cut to like swords in midair, just ting ting. And, that was like the kind of cheesy ways that these action films used to do. And we would do that. So my sister would play one character with the hair tied up, And then she's like, oh, shouting at someone, and you cut, and it's her, but now her hair is let loose, so she's the other character. So we used to do like this weird kind of face. So
you guys were getting creative very early on. You guys were getting very creative very early on.
Yeah, it was also like, I don't know, it was funny that we were doing it in a weird way. I think we were also laughing at ourselves when we did that, and it was fun. So I remember always doing those kind of things, and we were I don't know, we were always joining some kind of program, some kind of public speaking stuff. So I think one day I was watching, I think, Fight Club, and when the DVD days, and as soon as the credits started, it just clicked in my head. It's like, oh, I want to do film. This opening is so awesome. I haven't even seen like Tyler Durden and all that story yet. It was just the opening music. There was like a graphic thing. The titles were coming out, and I was just, I want to do film. And a few years after that, I was in a band. It was a random, like, my friends, okay, we formed a band, and we were performing and doing some kind of shows. We did a talent time show where we were able to record a song for this album. And whilst we were at this recording studio, a friend of mine who was studying film, he went to New York, he studied film and everything. He was chatting with the record label, the label owners, and they said they were talking about doing some music videos. So he immediately pitched. He said, hey, I can do this music video for you. And I think a week before, I had already asked my friend, like, could I borrow a textbook? I just want to learn more about filmmaking. After he had that offer, we spoke about it. He said, like, instead of the textbook, how about you join me and we produce these music videos? And I was like, bro, I don't know anything about like producing. He said, come and be a producer. I don't know anything about being a producer. He's like, don't worry, I'll teach you. And we would go to the mama. I'll bring a textbook. He would just teach me whatever he knew. He was only a film student. And we did some kind of dodgy stuff. We printed out some business cards. We didn't have a company, but it just made us look legit. And with that business card, I found a clipboard, which made me feel kind of official. So I bring a clipboard and a business card. Of course, I was professional, and we got locations. We got, we got people agreeing to sponsor props. We got all this done just with this kind of fake company. And we got a couple music videos done, like legit music videos. We got, and of course, my first video, I'm producing it. It features my dad, my uncle, my sister, all my friends, my car, all my resources spent on the first video. Like ever since my first video, no one is gonna like answer the call and do me a favor of being in the video, because they already know, like I already used that favor on the first one. But that's how it started, man. And I'm actually very excited. A guest speaker that I'm going to bring on this tiny platform we're talking about is that guy, is that mentor, my bassist from before, Kara, and name is Kara Azri. And that was when that happened. That was perhaps like 17 years ago, 20, something like that. It's been so long, and we've both had crazy careers already. We've done all sorts of things, and yeah, that was amazing. That was the start. That the little hustle thing that we did led to so much more, So
that's amazing. So like the expression "fake it till you make it" could not be more appropriate in this case here.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a bit of that in every kind of aspect, because especially now, we get to see so many examples of like successful people in what they do. Already we're starting to like mimic what we think should be what it is. So yeah, man, I'm still faking it. So, you know what I mean?
On your right. I mean, and yeah, because the day that you're not means that the day you've stopped learning, and the day that you've stopped learning is a very sad day indeed. So I'm learning that. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear more about Tiny Class. So we'll get to that in just a second, because I know that we've only just tapped into your creative journeys at once. So music videos were your thing early on, and then what about when it came to sort of like school and college? Did you study filmmaking? Did you do a media degree? Did you go to production school or anything like that? How was like that phase of your development?
I mean, after we did the music videos, he went back to New York State. So I actually went to the UK. I actually kind of wanted to study there. I had the right to board. My father's English, so I was trying to get like the cheap fees. And then I think when I got there, then only the people we were talking to at the university were like, oh yeah, by the way, you have to be here 3 years straight to get the local fees. So I was like, oh, okay. But instead of going back, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just try and stay because I can work and stuff. So I spent like 3 years working random jobs in London. I was working like hotels and this, and then during that time as well, I did a film course. I found a film course. It was like a class every weekend, 8 hours a day. I did this film course. It was like 7 weeks, one class a week, and I got a diploma by the end of it. And I was a bit like, that's fast, that's easy, that's a diploma. And then I kind of realized that filmmaking, unlike other kind of syllabus and subjects and stuff, doesn't really have a set syllabus for getting a degree and a diploma. Sure. And it was a bit like, okay, if this is film school, I know there's much more advanced stages, which was a lot of money. So it was a bit like an opening course to get us interested. But I was like, I don't think I want to spend that much money and spend all this time in filmmaking. So actually, my classmates from the class, we actually started a company in the UK. There was 10 of us. We called it 10 Productions. Only one of them was really rich. He had bought a camera and everything. So we shot a few things on his camera. So I remember I was working at a BBC, it was a bar for BBC. I actually got this job. Someone offered me the job. And I thought that was a great way to get into the BBC. If I go in through the bar, then, maybe someone will hire me. But it was the BBC for Radio 4, which was like classic jazz. So there was no one there.
Yeah, old school.
But we were able to take that opportunity to we filmed a short film in that bar. I actually I wrote into the boss and everything. We shot short film there. We did a few more short films, and that kind of started the ball rolling for that. And I think I came back to Malaysia. When I came back, I met my friend again, and he showed me all the work he had been talking about doing all those years ago. And now he's actually done all these jobs, and he was starting a company. It was called Future Flow Films. Shout out Future Flow Films. And the day after I came back from UK for my brother's wedding, the day after his wedding finished, 5 a.m., I'm joining them. We're going on a tourism shoot. We go to 5-6 different states in Malaysia. And for the next 10 days, I'm on the road shooting this tourism music video thing with Joe Flizzo and a few other artists. And that's when it started. That started my career in Malaysia, and I didn't really stop. It was Future Flow Films for about 3 years. We actually did a TV show. We tried to do an entourage thing. It's called Project Pop. We featured Hujan the band playing themselves. We had all these artists playing themselves.
What a great show.
It was havoc. It was chaos, man. Setting that all up, working. We kind of aimed a bit too high, we were a bit ambitious, but that was a great experience. After that, I joined Reservoir Production. Shout out Reservoir. They perhaps arguably one of the top commercial houses in Malaysia. They're responsible for all the crazy TNB festive ads, all those crazy, funny Tenaga National ads. They also do all the Petronas sad, emotional ads. So, I was able to do quite a few festive ads. I did a lot of commercials. I think in the time I spent there, I was 3 years there. I might have done up to about 100, 150 commercials. Because I was the guy that would do anything. I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll try that. I'll try this. What kind of product? Sure, why not? And I wasn't very picky. So I just kept on doing that. And that's why I'm kind of really glad now. It was fun. It was also pretty taxing. Commercials at the end of the day. Filmmaking, a lot of people like to look at it as an art form. But, when you do it at a professional level, you have to think about it professionally, as a service industry. You have to take your creativity and, how can you really service the brand, the client, and all that. So, it takes a bit out of the passion that, we grew up about loving filmmaking. And that is related to doing music videos, where there's the other end of the spectrum. No one has money for music videos, but you put so much effort. You work till crazy hours. You push the envelope. You really try and make them the best just because you love them. You've grown up loving music videos and stuff. So I'm glad I'm able to do a mix of it now. After spending 3 years doing commercials and all this, I went away from music videos for so long, and now I come back to it. I really feel like it's on a whole other level. I've learned so much. you know, how to
Awesome.
make it look really good and stuff. So yeah.
I mean, what some people are doing now, I mean, art, music videos, you look at how they've evolved from like, you know, 80s, 90s and whatnot. They've become a real like celebrated art form in themselves, because I think, like you said, there's that trade-off. The trade-off is maybe no one's got money for them, but you get to express yourself as creatively almost as you wish, as long as, you know, you have the right role within the production to do so. And I see your point about the maybe your creativity being stifled on commercials, because like I'm the same. I'm a copywriter, and you know, when brands ask me for like taglines or for this or for whatever it is, and I suggest them ideas which I think are brilliant. You know, I think they're my babies, and the brands are like, no, give us more options. I'm like, oh, you've really got to like bite your tongue and remember who's paying the bills, and accept that your creativity has to work within someone else's context. Whereas a music video that you're shooting is your baby. You know, you get to have a lot of fun with that. Yeah. Awesome. And so now, so I'd love to get your insights on what you're doing now with Yuna, because now there's this journey that you've been on, and all of these experiences, like you're putting yourself out there, saying yes to a lot of different commercials, productions, brands, or everything else. Like this is giving you such like now like a wide ranging experience, knowledge, and whatnot. And so now, what's very exciting is that you've come to a point in that career, you and Yuna, where you're starting to share that with the rest of the world. And so now you've created this new project, Tiny Class, which I'm going to plug down the bottom of the screen here. Yeah. Check it out. tinyclass.com. So tell us exactly what tinyclass.com is all about.
Thanks a lot. Tiny Class, this is our most current passion project. Tiny Class is an experience and educational platform. The idea is actually having, we call it Tiny Class, big ideas. We came to the idea of having classes where we're starting off with myself and Yuna, able to share our experience, our process as to how we do what we do, you know, taking people from A to Z as to like how I would approach conceptualizing a music video, or Yuna, like how she writes a song. And, you know, spending a good amount of time, 40 minutes to an hour with a not too big a group. We always thought that, you know, having about 10 people to a class would be more conducive to everyone, and also to make it very interactive. So right. Everyone knows Masterclass. We signed up for Masterclass. We did it. We loved it. But I was under this impression a bit that, you know, like when I do the Martin Scorsese thing, I'll be able to like, Mr. Scorsese, how did you do this? And, you know, to have that kind of interaction. And nice. I realized that, you know, it was, of course, impossible. How is he going to talk to all the people? And they do have homework and stuff, but it's really kind of optional. So there was a bit of interaction, but I felt that, you know, that would have been like a whole other kind of level. So, you know, we were thinking about having classes. The initial idea was actually almost a year ago. We wanted to run them out of a physical space, wanted to run them out of her shop. She has these tiny forest terrarium shops to do experience sharing for all sorts of things. And we did start a few, but, you know, the physical constraints and stuff were real, you know, and it kind of died out. So we're really glad we were able to take another whack at it. And we started last week. We launched it last week. We had 2 classes each, sold out of all those classes. And since then, we've been adding new classes and also getting more students involved. So, so far, it's been a great experience. And we have a lot more plans as to how to develop. This is only the beginning. And, you know, wait, should I share the deck now, Jacob?
Yeah, please. I understand you've got a few things to take us through, so I'm very excited to see like what kind of you know, what kind of classes you guys are putting on, and what kind of structure the classes are taking. So yeah, by all means, fire away.
All right. Wait a minute. Screen. Let me see if I can.
Tiny classes, big ideas. By the way, guys, is the tagline, which I like very much. As a copywriter, that gets my heart rate going.
Yeah, we were talking about all sorts of other names, and then I had to admit it was actually Yuna that came out and she said like what you call it, tiny, and I was like, oh, you know, tiny. Then it really made sense. It really is kind of friendly and endearing. So I was like, okay, wait a minute. it's not doing it like how we had before, where I can pick the app. Okay, let me just try again. Share screen. Browser has blocked your screen.
Oh no. We're having a few technical issues here. I'm afraid.
Issues.
Gentlemen, please
click the screen icon in your address bar. Oh, there you go.
There we go. All right, we're back in business. I was worried I'd have to start singing the elevator music. Yeah, like, please stand by.
Okay, let me see here. Let me see if we've sorted this out. Boom, 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 boom. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Is that kind of full? Okay, so anyway, I'll just take you guys through briefly. Since I did this last night, it's only fair that I share it. So tiny, interactive, and personalized online classes that last as long as a cup of coffee. Hey, a little bit branding for you. And get the chance to pick the brain of an experienced and established individual from the industry you aspire to be part of. So before we start, just a little backstory. If you didn't already know, Yuna Zarai, Malaysia's pop queen, princess, is my wife. I'm very blessed to have been met her on a shoot, and honestly, since we met, and our first conversation was actually about short film ideas. We wanted to talk about horror short films that we really like, and that conversation goes on until today. We continuously talk about creative things, and we work very well together. So I actually I got the chance to direct her last 3 music videos. This is a picture from one we did called Forevermore. That was our love letter to Malaysia. It's one of my favorite videos and my favorite work. So about 15, 16 years experience in the industries of music and filmmaking, each from both of us. And, you know, we realized that throughout every step, we've always had mentors, we've always had guides, people helping us along the way. So we're more than happy to really share our experience. What has worked for us so far? And that's why we created these tiny classes, to share these with people who aspire to, you know, do something in their industry. So I think what was important to us is to provide quality online learning experience, and then something that was effective, entertaining, multi-tiered, and always growing, ever expansive. And then we also really believe that the most important aspect is creating a real connection between the students and the speakers. That's why we always want to be asking questions, really getting to know our students as well and what it is they would like help with. So, you know, Q&A session is a very big part of our talk. And it's also not just us. We also think that, you know, we can only talk about so much because, you know, we need to talk from experience. So we are working on a roster of speakers, talking about all sorts of different aspects, starting off with music and film, and then hopefully leading up to, you know, life management, finance management, cooking, arts, photography, all sorts of things, really. So, yeah, keeping it effective to having just 10 students, make sure the information is concise, easy to understand and to apply, and very inspirational. Whatever we're teaching, we want to make sure that people understand that anyone can do it. Someone that has no background can join my class and actually start to see like, hey, you know, these are the most basic things, you know, so no technical background or experience needed for the classes. We also share a workbook of all the class syllabus after the class, you know, just so that they have a copy of all the notes that were talked about. Some of them have a bit of exercises in them. I know I put some music videos that I love, like a little viewing list. I was very excited about that. Entertaining.
I was going to ask if there's homework in this one, like in the masterclass.
Yeah, there's homework. It's funny, like now in this age, it's like I'm craving for homework. Whereas before I would never do anything. Now it's like, give me something to do, any kind of homework.
Let me prove myself.
Yes. So we also think it's important to be entertaining. Speakers must be passionate, spirited in the delivery, and also the experience that they have must be extensive. So, you know, we always stress that the information presentations be dynamic, you know, try and be creative as to how we share, try and really be really effective in how we let people into the subjects. Multi-tiered is also because we don't want it to just be one class per subject. I think I would love it that at one point, each speaker has like 3-4 different levels of the subject they're talking about, even from beginner to advanced, or people can even sign up for whole kind of packages. So we always want to develop and think, because I think once Yuna and I taught one class, we realized that, wow, 1 hour is very little, it's true. And there's so much more. We only like touched the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to teach and to share. So we always want to develop that. Effective, meaning like, we always want to hear what a feedback is. We actually want people to tell us what classes they want to do. Honestly, one of the first the impetus to start this is that I think Yuna was doing a lot of these live things on Instagram. I joined in, and there were so many comments of people saying like, hey, you guys should do a masterclass, you guys should do a class, and like, oh, Adam should do filmmaking. So, thanks fans, it's great to listen to y'all. And we've actually started something. So from all the students, people who join, we want to create a network where, this thing continues to be shared, continues to grow, and with the help of the students and the people who join in. And yes, always looking for inspiring professionals to be tiny speakers. For now we want to focus in music and film, of course. Expand to everything really: home improvement, cooking, writing, event photography, or events and photography. And so upcoming classes. So far the first week was just Yuna and myself. Now the guy that I did the music videos with, Muhammad Khairul Azri, my good friend, he liked to teach a class about from idea to screen, the process of making films. So Khairul has a great background. He directed a film called Pekak. He won awards. It was a few years back. It's about a deaf drug dealer, and a really beautiful film. He also has been directing series. There's a series called Black. It's an upcoming View series. I think it's an adaptation of a Korean vampire film. So it's going to be like a Malaysian vampire film. Khairul did that. And then he also worked on KL Gangster Underground 2, an upcoming iFlix series. So he's been busy working. He also kind of made that step away from commercials and corporate videos and all that to do his passion, which is narrative storytelling stuff. So he wants to share his process, which is going to talk about, the basic development of ideas. Also very interesting is the pitch process. How, every pitch requires different requirements and stuff. So he's going to talk about that. That's going to be very interesting. We also have AG Koko, really, really hugely talented musician. He's the lead guitarist for the band Hujan, but also a very talented music producer. So he's done all sorts of music. He's actually produced a lot of songs for Yuna back in the day. So he actually wants to talk about music arrangement for beginners. So again, this is coming back to people that have never, don't know a single note of music, maybe never even picked up a single instrument or guitar, could take that class. It's built for anyone to really get in on the action. And then we also have Haida Yusuf. We work very closely with Haida for my last few music videos. Very talented and very resourceful fashion stylist, wardrobe stylist. So, she's going to also share about like her processes and how she works like with very big brands, with the right kind of approach, right kind of portfolio. Top brands like designer brands, Gucci, Versace, they would actually lend items of clothing to her I think for almost free even sometimes, just because she's really smart as to how to make that clothes, be used in projects where they get great exposure. For example, music videos, photo shoots for blogs and magazines and stuff. So Haida will be sharing her process, how she works. I really love these people. I've worked with all of them. Yuna and myself have worked with all of them, and we're really excited that they're able to share their talent and stuff on our platform. So there you go. Thank you for listening so far, guys. That's tiny, and this is just the beginning, and we're really, really, really excited about where we want to go.
Again, so check it out down below, tiny-class.com. Like we said, intimate, interactive, and I think is the key point there is interactive. I think the access that these classes will get you to guys like yourself and your special guests is really where the value is being driven in this offering. And I think it's a fantastic initiative. Well done. Congratulations on it, and all the best for your for its success.
Cheers, buddy.
I think I don't. That's what we're trying to pull off, something of a similar nature with ALYFE Connects in a way, in that we are looking to try and create, some insights and value for our guests and whatnot. I mean, right now I don't dare charge anybody to listen to me speak, but that's why we're inviting people like you on stage to talk to us instead. You guys are the experts, so we want to create this like interactive experience too a little bit, and because like you said, learning is really about. I mean, it's great that, like with the masterclass series, it's great that you can literally see how Scorsese, like the greatest, if not the greatest director of all time, it's great to hear him speak about his process, but he's still talking to you. Learning is a very interactive process. You've got to go back and forth. You've got to clarify things. You've got to question. You've got to explore. You've got to discuss. You've got to go into detail. And so it's great to hear, not only are you giving people that chance, but also that you're doing it multi-layered lessons. It's not just a one-off 45 minute set. You get to go back and pick up different things. So I think it's fantastic. And obviously the guys that you've got on board, guys and girls that you've got on board, I'm sure have some very, very interesting stories to tell.
For sure. Yeah, man. Cool. I mean, looking forward to it.
Like that. So I mean, right now, of course, like the situation with the MCO and everything is very uncertain, but do you think when it's lifted, do you think you'll get back to starting to be busy on the production side again, or will this be your pet project now for the immediate future at least, or are you looking forward to getting back onto set?
All this talk about conceptualizing music videos and all this experience sharing really started to make me miss shoot, make me miss set and stuff, because that's why it's funny when you do this kind of retrospective kind of work on yourself and you do this sharing, it also puts things into perspective again, makes you rekindle certain kind of loves and stuff. So man, I can't wait to shoot something again. But I think I don't think there's any reason to think we can't do that kind of stuff. If it's for work, if it's on a professional level, I get it. Like maybe events might take a knock, maybe like music shows and stuff like that, where big part of the enjoyment is that massive sharing that's going on. You're in a concert, you're in the crowd, the energy is infectious and everything. But now other things could be infectious. But I think for work though, there are, there's going to have to be new SOP, new standards of procedure of how we work, which also might improve the workflow if everyone is like a bit more streamlined as to how you do it and how, there's also order. It also will bring in order. So
yeah, exactly. I think if there is a collective order, then even better.
Yeah, like and ingenuity is amazing. Like, okay, my sister is shout out Adam Sinclair, hits Mix FM. She's a morning DJ, and she's how's that?
I said shout out Aisha. I think this echoed.
Shout out Aisha, yes. So she's a morning DJ, and I was asking like, how's your job gonna go? Because I think that was under like the required services was broadcast. So she's like, yeah, we're going to studio and stuff. And then I think after a while, though, they started to phase out of the studios. And then they were able to have these kits where they're all able to record from home. And, they edit it all together and they're actually doing radio from home. And it's really cool. And they were able to sort that out within the MCO starting in less than a week. And we were really happy that, okay, you're at home now, because if not, she was the one who's keep on going to work, whereas the rest of us were at home. But so she was finally home and able to broadcast or at least record from home. And, that was just like a kind of sensible and quick fix that happened. So for all industries really that require people to be together, there's great minds thinking. And, we all can contribute as well to start thinking about how we can open up again, but in a responsible and safe manner. Because, I mean, let's face it, I don't think we're going to like do much high fives and stuff for at least a year. So no high five tunnels.
A socially distanced set would be a very interesting place to work on, because I've been lucky enough to work on a couple of commercials myself, and seeing what goes on, behind the scenes and on set it's a fascinating kind of insight into the work that that goes on. I mean, I did a shoot a couple of years ago now, which involved like an underwater disco scene. And oh my goodness, we spent 5 days at the bottom of the Bukit Jadal diving pool and with a full scuba crew. You know, and that,
awesome.
and for the pre-underwater, but before we got to the underwater disco, there was a party on a yacht. So we got to spend a day around Port Dickson, sailing on a boat, playing, just drinking or pretending to drink, and then we did the underwater disco scene. And oh my God, man, it was a very interesting one. So I think, and it'll be interesting to see how the creative industry rises to that challenge, because I think Grab put out a campaign recently, the Raya campaign. They've shot remotely. They've managed to do that. So people are managing to work around it. I haven't seen the campaign, so I'm not sure how they've actually done it. But even, I mean, I gotta. It sounds like I'm bragging here, but I shouldn't. I'm not bragging because I didn't get the role. But I got a casting call just the other day for a Gillette shoot, which they're shooting remotely. You know, which they're already planning to shoot remotely. I think just recording people at home, which will be again very interesting, because like, how do you make sure that the talents are filming themselves into the right spec, to the right ratio, or whatever it might be, and then putting all that together into some coherent, consistent looking film. So, I mean, I don't think I got the role, sadly, but it'll be interesting to see it when it does come out, because that was like designed to be shot remotely. So I think we'll see a lot of interesting creative stuff going on.
That's true. I heard about that project too. I was like, I think they asked me as well whether I wanted to be part, but I think, I didn't get the role too, but I think it's interesting to see.
You could use the Gillette more than me.
I could use it, bro. I mean, like, honestly, I don't know when, man, I'll be able to go to a barber again. I need it, because I have a few shavers, and they're all in, like, back home in LA, and I brought back one, but I didn't bring back the charger. So I've been like using it sparingly, not knowing when it's gonna go out.
Yeah, I think that one of the first things I'll do when this is over is go to a proper gentleman's barber. You know, really maybe like a True Fit or something like that. Really
sounds about right now.
Really treat myself to a luxury shave and a head massage and all the rest of it. You know, go get pampered. Have a boys pamper day or something. All right, dude. We've got about just over 5 minutes now left to go, so I think it would be a good time to wrap up by plugging some of your own work, because I know we've not discussed. And also, we've got a couple of questions here which you might like to field from the audience.
Oh, okay. Love it. I love Q&A.
So yeah, a little bit of Q&A. The people are curious. Howard down here is curious to know, for you, what you find is the most challenging aspect as a director on a shoot, be it a commercial or music video. What to you is the most challenging thing?
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of different challenges and stuff. I guess the biggest one is always like, when they say, who your biggest enemy, your biggest critic, or whoever is yourself. I think that's really it. Managing expectations, especially your own expectations. I mean, a lot of filmmakers are very imaginative kind of people. Of course, that's like how it all begins. And this is one thing I tell my students, like every job or everything you do is always kind of going to fall short from how good it looks in your head. In your head, it's going to look perfect and almost illogical. Yeah, it's, of course, like in your head, it's just everything so perfect and polished and supreme. But when you come to shoot and you see like real life kind of elements now in the frame, in the screen and everything, there's going to be a part in your brain that's going to, wait a minute, how come it doesn't look exactly like how it did in my head? I think with any kind of creative, that's like something that they have to deal with. So I think of being a director, it takes experience. It takes you a few rounds to start to see like the real results of your work, of your hard work, of your planning and everything, and what it leads to, what your results can be. So only after you've had a bit of that under your belt, then only do you get to have better control over the quality of your work and be able to improve it. But really, I think, how we picture the films or the videos in our head is always kind of setting us at a very high benchmark. So yeah, I think that's a big challenge.
Yeah, it is very much like the very definition of the ideal world, of course, exists in your head. So in an ideal world, it would look like this, but the world doesn't always work that way. So it's about, I think that's a very good point, actually, managing managing expectations, including a lot of people, we try to please everybody except ourselves, so it's about being fair to yourself as well. Okay, cool. We have another one here from, I can't show the username because they need to give access to StreamYard, unfortunately, but they are asking how you organize, plan, and prioritize your work. Like as a director, of course, you've got lots of storyboarding, lots of things. How do you work around that? What is your process? What is your approach?
I mean, I guess everyone's got their own process. I know some people that are like a lot more organized than others, but kind of a common trend in directors is they're usually not the most organized, and they depend on people. Like when I go into a job, let's say if I heard about the job, the first person I'm going to look for is not a dope cameraman or DOP or art director, editor. Usually I want to get a good producer. Working with someone whose job nature is to keep things organized, to plan and prioritize. Of course, not just let them do all of it, but to be able to work with someone also gives me better confidence into going into my job. Knowing that I can trust someone once we've discussed to have it as the way we believe it should be done, to allow me to then try and do my best creatively and focus on that. Like, as much as I like to focus creatively, I started off as a producer, so I always care about the nitty and the gritty. But this is also kind of what I want to talk about in my classes, that a kind of unorganized person like myself throughout the years has actually been able to form a process of how to organize, especially creative work, especially to organize and plan how your creative process is. Step one, step two, what do you do here, what do you do next? So I guess everyone will have their own way, and after doing things enough, just make sure that you kind of be a bit critical with yourself, like always kind of do post-mortems on your own work, what worked, what didn't work, and from there make sure that you remember that process and then put it into play for the next jobs. Always look to get better, so yeah, teamwork and experience, I guess.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So there you have it. So for more insights into organized chaos, into somehow crystallizing the creative process, check out Adam's features on tinyclass.com. I think any more questions, guys? We've got 1 or 2 minutes left. We can maybe get one more in. I have one which I think you might struggle to. It's very generalized. And by the way, I'm going to plug your work here down below. So
yeah.
Guys,
it's my proof. I actually do some work.
So, I mean, and there's a lot of work there too. And so my question is a very difficult one, I think, for you to answer. But of all of your work on that side, of all your portfolio, of all your projects and experiences, what stands out? I don't want to say what is your favorite, because that is a hugely difficult one. But what stands out for you as like maybe, or what will always remain in your mind as like a groundbreaking piece of work, or maybe it was one where you took what you thought was the biggest step on your journey, or do you see what I mean? What's been the biggest, not in terms of production size necessarily, but to you, like the biggest, most meaningful perhaps piece of work?
I mean, that's a really good question. Sometimes when like once in a while, and it's not so often, I'll look back at my work. And sometimes actually like a small, I think after a few years later, I would look back at like my commercial work for like fast food stuff, like some of the KFC stuff. And I'd actually be like, because maybe you're in it, you don't appreciate it as much, but as years go by, you look back and you'd be like, oh, wow, I kind of did that. That's pretty good for that level I was at. I think it was a really good ad, and these are kind of things. But honestly, it has to be the first video I did for Yuna's latest album, which was Forevermore. I think one thing was that we were always talking about like shooting music videos together and stuff. And then I think when the idea of shooting a video in America was so enticing, I was like, oh my God, we grew up our whole lives watching American films, American TV shows. To actually shoot something with like any kind of background would be like immediately iconic. And she did this song, which was one of my favorite songs of the album, where she started singing with a Malaysian poetry style called a bersyair. And I actually did some of this poetry in school. There's like a humming kind of singing sound to it. and it's a bit haunting. So she started with that, and then it went into a bit of like a dancey kind of vibe. And I think they wanted to do that video. And as soon as we got the opportunity, we were like, no way we're going to shoot this in America. Of course, we got to shoot this in Malaysia. And we shot a video in Perlis, the most northern state, and some spots in KL, Batu Caves, the Shah Alam Stadium. And that was a big undertaking for me because, you know, this was kind of reintroducing Yuna after 3 years, kind of being out of new music, out of the industry a bit. She came back with this album, and we wanted to present her. First time she was dancing in a video. First time she was doing anything that was like, looked a bit more realistic, gritty. Like her videos before were nice, but they were also very like pop, meaning that they were all pretty and, you know, of a different kind of vibe. So we wanted to show something gritty and real. And yeah, I had an amazing team. I pulled a lot of favors from the guys I usually work with commercial. And, you know, we would be shooting extra hours. We wanted to cover a lot of stuff, but they were all game. They all, you know, they had massive love and respect for Yuna and what she was doing. And these guys all like, you know, put in 110, 150% effort into this job. And they appreciated what we were trying to do, which was, we wanted to kind of do like a tourism video, but the side that tourism will never show, which is, you know, that the fact that, you know, a big part of our culture is the motorbikes. You know, Mat Rempit, that's part of being Malaysian.
Sure.
You know, to show like more of the people that live in the small villages, the people who work in the sundry stores in like places where no traveler even gets to. So we wanted to portray a lot of that, and I think that video started like a whole kind of mood and tone, which we continued for the next few videos for Yuna. And honestly, that was one of my first international pieces of work. I got on some blogs. There was one blog that Stereo Gum was one of my favorite blogs. They were always sharing best videos of the week, and our video got on there, saw my name, and then the title was pretty cool. It said like, the writer said that, oh, I've never heard about Malaysia before. Turns out Malaysia is fucking awesome. And it's like, yeah, you know. and that's what we wanted to do. Yep. That's what we wanted to show. So that will always be a very, very special video of mine. And these I did lately, but yeah.
Sorry, that was Forevermore, right? You just mentioned?
That's Forevermore, Yuna music video.
Guys,
yes.
If you haven't checked it out already, look it up on YouTube, Yuna Forevermore. And I'm going to go back and watch it because, you know, in my old life as a creative, the agency I worked for specializes in tourism branding and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But it's very, like you just pointed out, like you're often going to get a much bigger hook and a much bigger reaction out of people when you show, you know, the glossy corporate campaigns don't fly anymore. You know, you got to be real, you got to be cool, you got to be, you know, you got to show off the country in different ways. So I'm delighted for you and delighted for Malaysia that, you know, you were able to get a good response from shooting it and showing the real side. You know, like no tourism campaign ever would show a Mat Rempit, you know, but you guys did it and it worked. So
it's true.
I like that. That's
I mean, we kind of made it like we stylized it more. I mean, it's not as real as real can be, but true. I mean, like, you know, we wanted to take something that was not deemed so celebratory and celebrate it. So yeah.
Nice positive spin on things. All right, mate. Well, I think that we've just gone over the hour mark. You know, time flies, really. So I think we'll have to wrap things up there. So we'll say goodbye. But before I do, of course, thank you very, very much, Adam, for coming on board and speaking to us. I'm going to go check out the page. Actually, like, I'm really excited about it. I think what you're doing is excellent. Congratulations on that launch. And yeah, we can't wait to see how it builds and develops. It sounds like you're getting some really exciting people involved. Likewise, we can't wait to see what you come up with when the MCO is lifted. I know you're itching to get back on set, so I'm very excited to see what you come up with when you're allowed back behind the camera.
Yeah, man.
So for now, man, look, we'll say happy Ramadan. Of course, you stay safe. All the best to you and your family. Be well. Stay indoors, wash your hands, and who knows, we'll catch up again soon.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, Jacob. Thanks to ALYFE. You guys are amazing, and looking forward to more of the talks you guys are going to have. Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.
It's been awesome. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Peace.
All right, guys, there you have it. Adam Sinclair, award-winning filmmaker and now founder of Tiny Class, who, together with his wife, Yuna, the Malaysian songstress, and Pop Princess are putting on private-ish, up to 10 only individuals, private, intimate, interactive online learning experiences where they will teach you the ins and outs of the creative industry from start to finish, from conceptualization to commercialization. So that's all we have time for today's session. So thank you very much all for joining us. We hope you found it as interesting, as informative as I did. We'll be back at 3 p.m. welcoming award-winning fashion designer Jimmy Lim, talking to us about his latest collection and his journey as a creative from New Zealand to Malaysia and what the next step and stage holds for him. So we'll be back at 3 p.m. I'll be your host for that session, and we'll be wrapping up the day with our first magic show, which I'm very excited about too. At 6 p.m., we'll also be joined by Kenny Yee, makeup artist, who'll be talking to us about business survival during the lockdown and coronavirus period. So that's all for now. Go get some lunch. Join us again at 3 p.m. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you later. Thank you very much.